Good evening, everyone. Have you ever dreamed of stepping away from your 9 to 5 to become a full-time real estate investor? Stay tuned tonight because you will find out exactly what that looks like. Good evening. I am Margot Drake, and this is Club Revenue, where we help people build wealth through real estate. We believe that you work hard and your money should too. Tonight, we are talking to Mia Walker, a full-time real estate investor who did exactly that. She stepped away from her corporate job to pursue full-time real estate investing with short-term rentals. Good evening, Mia. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, Margot, how are you?
I am so happy we're finally doing this on this platform so that we can do a deep dive. So Mia joined us for a fabulous panel of a group of women talking about how they all became real estate investors. And I made a promise that we would do a deep dive with each one of those investors and do it on this platform so we can get the information out to more people. So thank you so much for agreeing to come back and dive deeper into your story that has recently changed.
Yes, that is for sure.
So let's start with going back and how this all started. What did it look like before your real estate journey? What did your life look like before your real estate journey started?
You know, it was a typical corporate life. You know, I've been in the beauty industry since I was in college. So over 30 years. And so with that and the roles that I was in, I was traveling all the time, majority of it. And, thinking I wanted to climb that corporate ladder until, I got to a point age-wise and just kind of had some different goals and visions. And I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. So, that was typically it, raise family, things like that. But yeah, it was just corporate life, doing the grind, traveling a lot.
So let's talk a little bit about, and I want to say hello to everyone that's joining live. I see you popping up here. I don't have a way to comment back to you, but our Club Revenue ladies are showing up. So welcome. And by the way, if you are a woman and you are interested in wealth building, stay for the private mastermind. This is public. It's being aired on all social media. But after this, at 7 p.m., we have a 30-minute unrecorded private mastermind. That's where the magic happens. Go to ClubRVNU.com for more information on that. Mia, tell us about your family. I mean, you're raising kids. You're doing the corporate life. Talk about a little bit about that so people can get a picture of that.
In the corporate life at the time, I mean, again, traveled a lot. My kids, pretty much that's how they've always known me is, that working mom. And then now my kids are grown. So both kids are out of college and have established, roles in their careers or just starting out. So they're kind of in that next stage of life. So my husband and I are empty nesters, except for the 2 dogs. And so, I think that the corporate piece was a big part of my life. It's what I knew. It's what I was driven with at the time. And now in the past couple of years, particularly, it was just things were changing. The dynamics of our household were changing. Doug and I, had this vision together. And so, we also wanted to create something that we could share with our kids at some point in time.
It's all about that legacy. So what actually sparked your interest in entrepreneurship and investing? Was it that grind?
I've always kind of I've always had that entrepreneurial kind of vibe in me a little bit. I owned a business that was also in the beauty industry. I've always been super creative. And I think that in many different ways, and I think the design part is, I just am one of those girls that can kind of walk into an environment or walk into a room and literally just kind of see the vision of what I would change or what I would add, whether it's an event or a house or whatever it might be. And I just love that idea of seeing the vision and then being able to kind of bring it to fruition. So from that kind of creative piece of it and that entrepreneurial piece, I've always kind of had that in me. And then the investment piece of it, I think for me, it was really about something that was going to give us passive income. And but that I could use my talents and my husband's talents, together. And so I think that was really important to me. Like I didn't want to own another brick and mortar. I mean, I may be entrepreneurial still, but I was not going to own another brick and mortar type of business. So I wanted something that I was making passive income. I'll do the work, I'll do the grind. Don't get me wrong, to get it all up and going and established. Nothing's easy, but I just wanted that passive income piece of it, especially as I was aging, because I knew that I'm in Michigan, and I remind my husband every winter that I want to leave this place from January, February, and March, maybe April. And again, I didn't want to start a business, do a business that was going to rely on me having to be here all the time. So it just pulled everything together of us.
I think about all the meetings and the coffees and the teas and the cocktails that we've had talking about that. So this has not been a knee-jerk reaction or something that was just a spontaneous, hey, I think I want to do this. I mean, you have been thinking and talking about this for years and honing your skills, proving yourself, I think, to yourself and to probably each other, that you can work well. We'll get into that in a little bit. But I see more Club RVNU ladies showing up. So I love that. Thank you. Thank you. And so our fabulous wizard behind the screen, Steve, has been putting up, please comment, ask your questions. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on LinkedIn, if you're watching on Facebook, put your questions in the chat. We will see them. And we've dedicated the last 15 minutes tonight to be able to get those questions answered. And then also, if you have something a little more personal or maybe a deeper dive or something that you wanted to discuss with Mia, Steve put up her email address too. But if it's something that everybody could benefit from, please put it in the chat. I see Jessica's here. I see Tracy Johnson's here, Jessica Griffiths and Tracy Johnson. Okay, so let's talk about when did you realize that you had a gift for adding value to real estate? And you definitely have a team effort going between you and Doug.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So I think probably we did 2 personal homes into the Grand Rapids area that we redid. I mean, we like to go into a house that's not done. I mean, we like to walk in, see the vision, and see how we can make it our own. So we did, 2 homes in the Grand Rapids area that we raised our kids in. The last one we did was a ranch that, I know you've seen it before, Margot. I mean, we really saw the vision. We really made some changes, loved that house, loved what we could do with it, and loved what we could do together. So I think that's part of it too. We are a really good pair together, my husband and I, Doug. I like to say I get to play Joanna and he's my Chip. And so, he swings the hammer. I mean, I paint and I do a lot of caulking, things like that. But we together, again, we can walk into a space. I can look and say, I want this and this. Can you do this? And he might say no. And I say, are you sure? And then he might say, well, maybe. And then he usually goes and figures it out for me. So usually he's good at that. So I think, not everybody might have that partnership, but you can find it. I mean, you can, it could be a builder. It could be, a brother-in-law. It could be somebody that could help you, figure out if you walk into a space or you want to start something like a short-term rental and you see that it needs to be elevated a little bit. There are people out there that can do it for you. Yes, I'm lucky enough that I'm married to that person.
Yeah. So you really did this twice, and I had the honor and benefit of seeing both of those, and your homes were absolutely beautiful here in East Grand Rapids. And did you do pretty well on the sales of those? I mean, as a result, adding value. So that was, definitely. I mean, we say the path is in the math.
Yep.
So you had positive feedback there, and you really had vision with that ranch. And I would say, I want to pick this house up and bring it to Manhattan Beach
Yes, you would.
and put
Yes,
it
you would.
down.
Yes. Yes. I miss that
Oh,
house.
so great.
That was a great house. That was a wonderful house. What we did with it, it was really cool. It really
Feel
was.
like
So,
every time I saw Doug, he was in the garage cutting wood.
oh yeah, yep, I'm the project manager. So yes, well, and I have that in my notes further down when, but yes.
Well, Steve put the picture up. This isn't her ranch. This is Mia. Tell us what this is.
So
The
this is
picture's up.
our farmhouse in Fenville, Michigan, which is just right outside of kind of Douglas Saugatuck near Lake Michigan, about an hour south of Grand Rapids, kind of nestled right between like South Haven, Holland, Douglas Saugatuck area. So this was a labor of love project. So after we were done with the ranch in Grand Rapids, I had this crazy idea that I wanted to, again, now at this point, take our talents and put it into short-term rentals. And I was really, again, getting to this age where I wanted to start to create some passive income, things like that. And so I found, I should have sent Steve a picture of the before.
You should. Okay, I want to go back. You really had vision with this one. I mean,
yes.
You had vision with the ranch in East Grand Rapids, but you really had vision.
It was livable. This was not livable before. I found it. I was kind of just looking around online and had this thought that I wanted a farmhouse. So this house happens to be on 10 acres, and then we own the 16 acres next door. So I guess you could say 26 acres. But this is on 10 acres, and it was a tear down. My mom and dad were like, "You are crazy." We took some very, very good friends of ours through it February, right before we bought it. And they're like, if anybody can do it, you guys can, but you're nuts. And so we took this, and that was in 2020 during COVID. We bought it in June of COVID and started the project. So
Mia, I remember you posting the pictures, and I remember us talking about it, and you probably texted me some pictures, and I just thought the same thing. Like, what? Fenville? What? And then I knew what you got, what you're capable of, and you both are you have no problem with putting in the work, like you said.
No.
So, and I this is beautiful. So what did you see that others didn't?
Well, I think, again, kind of walked into it, saw the vision. We really didn't change a ton inside. Let me start over. We changed everything inside, but we didn't change, we weren't moving like massive walls and things like that. We did, but we did a major overhaul inside. So, oh, great. Thanks, Steve. And so we walked in, and honestly, for us, the people get involved in short-term rentals for many different reasons. One, it's like strictly like passive income. They just are, it's an investment for them. They want to make money off of it. And some people do it for more of like a lifestyle investment, or is it lifestyle asset? And that's kind of how we saw it a little bit. Yes, our bottom line is that when we were done with this, we wanted to recoup some dollars. It was always that we were going to make it a short-term rental. But we also looked at it as a lifestyle asset in a couple of ways. In that, one, we wanted to be able to use it. So being, an hour from Grand Rapids at the time, but we ended up moving into it, which is another story. But while we finished it, really, I mean, I was like, I'm not paying rent in Grand Rapids when I can live in this thing and we can get it done. So, we made that investment. That was fun.
So wait, hold on. I want to make sure that landed for people. You didn't want to pay rent, because paying rent is paying off somebody else's mortgage.
Yeah.
So you just did the hard thing, and you commuted from the farmhouse and the conditions. You were living through a renovation, so you had to get really creative with those conditions. Yeah. I remember some of the stories. So that's actually my next question. What was it like living through a renovation while working?
My husband and I are still married. We're going to be married for 31 years next Wednesday. So I guess, it works. But I know it doesn't work for everybody. I mean, I've heard people say, I could never have done this with my spouse. You know what I mean? Things like that. I mean, so it had its moments, like where I would just sit and be like, I cannot, because I like things done yesterday, number one. And number two, I like all what I call the sexy stuff. I mean, I want to, as you can see in the pictures, I want to do all the design. I want to set up the shelves. I want to see the tile. I want to pick the tile out, all those things. Well, none of that comes until the walls are plastered and painted and, all the craziness is done. Um, so I think that, it takes a lot of patience to go through something like this. It takes a lot of understanding that you are going to put in a lot of sweat equity. You are going to probably have it take longer than you expected. And I think anybody on here who's ever built a house, done any part of a renovation, always knows it takes longer than what somebody tells you it's going to. So, it was a learning experience for us as well. I mean, there's things that I definitely learned as we do our second one right now, which is totally different than this. But I learned a lot, and I learned that I'm getting a lot older too. So that was the other thing too, as far as like painting's killing me now, but it's beautiful and we love it. We have it blocked out for all of Christmas for us to spend with our family. So again, a great lifestyle investment for us, but a lot of work. I mean, yeah.
That is not a normal Airbnb. And I see both of your DNA all over that home.
Thank you.
It has such character and soul and attention to detail that you don't see. And people are looking at pretty pictures, having no idea what the before looked like. And especially the outside, you created you created all of that, including, didn't you rip off wasn't it a screened-in porch?
It was
originally?
a screen porch. Yeah, it was a screen porch. So it
So
was, yeah.
All
yes,
of
you
that
can see it.
and the little, and I wasn't something leaning. I feel like there was something, was the roof doing something?
The roof got redone, but but the whole back area. So all the water, on the land all went back to the back corner of the house. So my husband had to jack up the back of the house and put in new trusses. I don't know what they're called. Sorry. Well, maybe trusses, or I'm sorry. I like the sexy fun stuff, but so you have to put those in.
I think we should do a couples version where you ask him questions he would never know, and he ask you questions you would never know. And by the way, I want to say thank you so much for doing this on your birthday week. You and Steve share the same birthday, which is this Friday. And this is like a big pivotal time. Like you can think moving forward that always around your birthday is when you decided to make this big leap.
Yeah. So one thing you brought up that I think that you mentioned about the house is you can see our DNA in it, and it may come up in a question later. But I do think that one of the big things about creating, for us in our investment as short-term rentals, is that it's really important that you create an experience for people. There's a lot of short-term rentals out there. So, if someone's thinking about getting into this, they're like, well, what makes mine different? I mean, you just can't put a bed in there and throw one pillow on it.
Dishes and forks and call it good.
Right. I mean, and I know many of us have probably stayed in them before. Nothing bothers me more than when I go into a short-term rental and there's 4 plates and 4 forks and 4 knives, and it doesn't have a homey, I love it feeling. We worked really hard for our 5-star ratings for our super host already, all those things that you want. But really the feedback we get is, it was such an experience. It was so relaxing. I've never stayed in a place like this. Yes, we put decor into it that some people are like, oh, it's going to get broken or do whatever. I mean, we took that chance, but it was really important. And it is really important that if you're getting into this business, that you are creating an experience for people to choose your house over, or condo or whatever it might be, over somebody else's. And it's actually number one for the amount of money that you're asking. And second, you want that experience to be amazing for them.
So if you are watching and you want to rent this Airbnb, and do we have a link, or how do we want to direct people so they can find it?
I sent it to Steve. So I don't know if he can maybe put it in the comments or something like that, or I don't know how he can do that, but I did send him the link. Definitely.
Okay, good. So, he'll get that up. And when I came to see it the first time, to see the after in person, you talked about that experience design, because you design, you have the vision, you design, just like you design all of the things, you're designing that experience. And you wanted that experience to happen or start really from Airbnb. I mean, look at your marketing. They already can feel it by looking at how you are marketing it. Then when they pull up, you talked about them feeling it from the second they pull in your driveway.
Yep.
And
exactly.
And then you surprise and delight all through the home.
Yep.
So if you want to rent this, it is great location. And I saw that it was 5 minutes away from Modalis. Is that, am I pronouncing it right?
I think it's Modales. Yeah, Modales. And right next to that is Virtue Cider, and right across the street is Fen Valley. It's a cool thing about Fenville is everyone thinks Douglas Saugatuck, which I love. We're 10 minutes from there. Yep. But Fenville is a happening little area it's kind of a little hidden secret that's not so hidden anymore. So I think that there's so much happening right now in Fenville. And people just get the best of everything because they can come to our farmhouse and be peaceful. I mean, that front porch is wonderful for coffee in the morning and a cocktail in the evening. There's a back porch too, but that people love to sit on that front porch. But you can go downtown. You can go to we're 5 minutes from the beach, so you can go do it all and come back and then just have a peaceful, evening fire, whatever you want to do. So yeah.
And you are, I don't know how many minutes off the top of my head, but super close to the Wincroft Estate, which is one of our favorite wines.
Okay.
Period. Like not favorite wines in Michigan, favorite wines, period. And you're super close to that too. So if you're watching this and you want a fun getaway, and if you didn't enjoy it so much, people wouldn't feel the way they feel when they look at the pictures or when they experience it. So that is just a win-win. You can tell you enjoyed the process. Now, maybe that would be different if Doug was on this interview. We could have him on next. Ask him what his opinion is. So what did this whole project teach you?
Everything takes longer than you anticipate. So always prepare for that, especially again, if you're getting into investing into short-term rentals or even a long-term rental. I would say, if you're going to do some work on it, it's always, be prepared to know that, your plan might be up and running by May to rent. That might not happen. So, things, plumbers don't, everything can happen. You know what I mean? So always just be prepared, a little bit financially. And then also just from a time point of view, I think, also really, again, I can talk from a short-term rental aspect of things, and I guess maybe a long-term rental, like who are you creating it for? So again, as a short-term rental person, I would say investor, I would say, who's your clientele you're trying to appeal to, because you can't appeal to everybody. And then like for us, we created it as a lifestyle asset. We created it as a place that I wanted to spend time at. You know what I mean? And the next one I want, you know what I mean? Sometimes my husband and I do go back and forth. He's like, I think we should. I'm like, I don't want to spend time at a place like that. You know what I mean? So for me, it's really important that I want my family or my friends to be there. I want to land there and know that it's my space too. So really, again, when you are, what it taught me is create something. What are you creating it for? If you're creating it strictly for investment, that still doesn't mean that you, again, are really, basic, create the experience. What's that going to look like to really give you the most value and the most return on your investment for sure.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you're just creating it for an investment,
not at all.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And maybe even the returns might be even better, but you're not going to enjoy it. And what's the value of that?
Exactly. And then be smart in what you invest in, I think also is really important. Do your homework. We did yes, I did find the space, and yes, I had this vision with this house that was ready to be torn down. But I think that you really want to make sure, everyone's like, oh, I should do something in Grand Haven. I should do something in Saugatuck. I should do something in, up northern Michigan or whatever. Okay, that's great. But really do your investments of, when you're looking to buy that real estate, do your investment of how many 4 bedrooms are already in the area. What do they look like? Could you upscale something to, make them look different than everybody else's? Do they all have the same theme? A lot of people theme them out a little bit. Like, I'm going to talk Disney World. I know it's not Michigan, but everybody's got a theme, things like that. So I think part of that again is really being smart in what you invest in, and talking to somebody, like myself or somebody else that you might know that's been in the short term, investment real estate aspect of things, or maybe long term, if again you're looking at that, is the pros and cons and what made them decide on the space that they chose, or the investment they chose, in the location. So really do your due diligence.
Yeah, and you want a great realtor to help you guide through the whole
Yes, you do.
process. And
Yes, you do.
so if you are outside of West Michigan, I can traffic direct to a great fit for you in wherever you are in the world. And if you are here in West Michigan, we would love to help you at Team Revenue. So let's talk about, that brings us to the present day. How are you doing things now?
What do you mean? How are we doing things
Like
now?
Tell me where are you sitting right now? Like, what are you
sitting in the? Oh, gotcha. Okay, so I'm sitting in the our current project. I'm sitting in the second bedroom of our current project. So we call our farmhouse the Fenny farmhouse. It's in Fenville, obviously. And we call this one the Blue Star Cottage just because it's on Blue Star Highway, right in Fenville, but closer to like Douglas, Saugatuck. So this was our second project, and so we are living in it as well. Now, we went from the farmhouse, which was 5 bedrooms, like 3 bathrooms, 10 acres of land, etc. And now we are living in a 950 square foot cottage that was 2 bedrooms and 1 bath, and we put a second bath in it. And it was, it was my husband and I and our son at the time, after he finished college, and 2 dogs. It was
I was going to say, don't forget the 2 dogs.
Yeah,
You've got
it was a little
an
tight.
adult, a third
Yes,
adult.
yes, exactly. So he's moved out, and so it's nice, but yeah, we're still living a little bit in chaos. I mean, it's always crazy, just little things, putting the second bedroom in or bathroom in. They had to jackhammer up the floor because it was, I was like, oh, yeah, of course. I mean, at one point my mom called me and she's like, how you doing? And I'm like, well, I'm standing in my bedroom, my office, part of our kitchen. Oh yeah, and here's the laundry room and the bathroom that's being done. And I'm talking 950 square feet. It was like this much space of that little area. So it's probably 200 square feet. So, I mean, you have to, not everybody can do it, but again, that's how we do it. So that's where we're at right now. The inside's almost done. I would say like 99% done, very livable. We got it all done and we're on to the outside. So now on the outside, we're redoing the outside with some board and bat and then a new roof and stuff like that. It's real cute. So it's just very different than what we have as a farmhouse, but that was important to us as we build a portfolio of short-term rentals, that we have a little bit of everything for someone. So this is our 2 bedroom, 2 bath, where the farmhouse majority of the time gets rented to, every room, 10 to 12 people, families, couples. But it's interesting. We've had people, like one couple, rent that entire house. And I think, again, it's because of the experience and what we've created for them to just go and have it be peaceful. Especially we get a lot of people from Chicago, and I think they just want to get out of the city and just relax. So that's the farmhouse. But here I think we'll be, I think we'll do, probably, girlfriends weekend, 4 girlfriends, maybe a couple and their kids, maybe 2 couples in this little cottage. And then it's got a little she shed in the back, and it's got a barn, like kind of a barn garage. That's right now it's like a rave party for critters, so they love it. So we're gonna button that up in the spring a little bit. Doug's like, I found a possum or a raccoon on the upper level. I'm like, okay, so that's part of renovation too. So,
and before we went live tonight, Mia was saying, "Can you see the paint spatters all over my glasses? It's so glamorous, isn't it?"
I know. Mm-hmm. Yes. Exactly.
So it sounds like you picked Fenville because that's where you found the farmhouse. So you kind of just started there.
Yeah.
And you talked a little bit about this, but maybe you can expand on it if there's anything you didn't say about how you and Doug, your husband, divide roles.
Sure. So, I think we kind of both see the vision. He probably walks in more like we could move this wall, we could make this bigger, we could turn this, whatever into this. I walk in with the like, okay, I see navy blue kitchen cupboards in butcher block, or I see, farm, recycled farm wood, whatever the environment is I'm trying to create. So I think we can kind of both see the vision. I'm definitely the design person. It's just, I love it. It's my passion. And then he's the we both do a little execution, but he's 90% execution of the physicals, swing the hammer, all that kind of labor intensive. Like I said earlier, I mean, I'm a really good painter. I'm a good painter and a caulker. I mean, I can do that, but I help him put the floors down and do things like that. But otherwise, and I'm a really good project manager.
Mia is an expediter. Yes, you are.
I'm a really good project manager, and I do the finances. So I'm the finance girl on these projects because, that is the other thing, every dime you're putting into it, you want to turn around and get back out as soon as you can. So, you gotta live within a budget for sure.
Yeah. So. Oh, Steve did update your,
my
title. Yes. Yes. Doug will love that. So yes, are you planning on keeping your properties closed and you do your own property management?
We do. Yeah. Yeah. It's just easy because we live in the area. Like I said, eventually I think we'll go back to Grand Rapids. I think both my kids at some point in their lives may come back to Grand Rapids. So obviously I want to be closer. I have a lot of community there. We raised our kids there for 20 years. So we have a lot of friends there and stuff. So that's my ultimate goal, is to go back and, again, we've lived in these projects for the past 2 years. So I just want my own home that I'm not working on to turn around and turn into something for a little bit. But yes, I think that we'll keep them closer. It's easier for management. We also own the land next to the farmhouse. So again, the farmhouse is on 10 acres, but we own the 16 acres next door that can actually be split into 3 different pieces of property. So my husband has this huge vision that we will do something, and I'm kind of with him. We have to decide what that will look like, but we would love to be able to do some more short-term rentals on that property because it is a beautiful piece of property. It runs along a ravine. It's just really, really, really pretty. So yeah, I think for me, as the person who kind of is the detailed girl of things, people do short-term rentals all over the country. I mean, they people own them in Florida, and they just hire they hire property managers. Thank you. So for me, I can't feel that right now. For me, I just like a little bit more control. So to have them all, I mean,
shocking. Mia.
I know, isn't it? But if I could have them all like in one little area, I just would love that. Also, I would love it. I think it's, if we ever wanted to sell them or turn them over to the kids, I think that to have them in one area just makes it a little bit more doable, I think. So yeah,
that's economy of scale, and you have them all boom, 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 boom. You could have like 4 right next to each other, right? Because you said you could.
We could, yeah. We actually could have 5. We could actually let the easement of the 16 acres, 15 acres. We could put an easement back to the back 5 of what the farmhouse is on, because you really can't get there otherwise. So I mean, we could actually do, we could have 5 right there, which would be really awesome. Yeah, I know. So yeah.
What a smart buy. Did you have any idea? Did you buy the 16 acres after the fact, or did you buy everything all together?
So it was in a trust. It was in a family that out of Chicago, like south of Chicago. Beautiful story of this family. And one of the great things about this farmhouse is their mother had passed away, got put into a trust. And so we bought it, obviously from the kids out of the trust. And so we bought the house first, and then they had the land was separate as different separate parcels. So we bought that right afterwards. But they wrote us, one of our sisters wrote us a beautiful letter about coming to that house. And because it was an old farmhouse in the front part, they had a double outhouse in the back. And she talked about this, and then how her dad in the 70s added the back of it on. And I mean, just great stories. And then probably we finished it. So maybe a year and a half ago or so, maybe 2 years ago, I got a note in the mail, handwritten letter from someone, one of the other daughters that was going to be in the area with her husband and her grown kids. They lived in Indiana, and she was wondering if she didn't want to impose, but she wanted to come and see it. And it was so cool to listen to her talk about, again, being in that house or going, the steps used to be here and then my dad moved them and all that kind of fun stuff. So it was just really like just touching. It really was cool. So
Well,
anyway.
I'm sure they love the fact that you have breathed new, both of you
Yeah.
and Doug, your whole family, because they all were
Yes,
involved in some
they did. Yes,
capacity,
yes, yes, they did.
breathed new life
Yes.
into this piece of property.
Yeah.
So it's so fun to see what you can do with it. I love that vision. So do you want to talk about your design consulting business?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
So
let's talk a
very
little bit
new.
about that.
Yeah. So, again, I just exited corporate not even 2 months ago. So, I think that it's one of those things where I've loved what I've been doing for our own homes. Yes, I um, do give lots of advice to, my family, my friends, things like that. I'm the girl that gets called of, what do you think about this? Or, what about this room? So I've always loved it. It's just a passion that I've always had. Like I said, I've always been really creative. I've loved doing what I've done with my husband, Doug. But now that I've exited corporate, I'm still kind of dabbling in the beauty industry a little bit, but strictly kind of an online piece of things. I found a great company, but I won't not back in corporate. I'm kind of done with that. So I wanted more time and flexibility and freedom. So I will still play in that arena because it's also kind of built inside me, but being able
Yeah.
to do the design piece of it as well. So for me, it's just been really being able to just, feel confident enough that, I mean, there's lots of competition and everything out there, but to be able to, be able to share it with people. I just finished up a condo in Florida with a
I
girlfriend
saw
of
that.
mine. Yeah, it was so cute. It just needed a good facelift. She inherited it from her parents, and she and her husband are loving it. It was so funny because her husband hadn't seen it, and he kept saying, "When are we going to stop seeing charges on the Amex? Like, when are we done?" And then he got down there, and I flew in a couple days later because I had to kind of tie the bow around some final things. And my girlfriend was like, "He loves it." So that's always good. So we just finished that condo up. And then I'm on my way to St. Joe, which is just south of here, on Friday to help. It was a referral from my girlfriend who has a Florida condo that they have some friends down there that have a place. And so they need some help with some artwork and just some different things. And then heading back to Florida to help my mom do her kitchen and dining room. So, I'm just dabbling in it right now. But honestly, my bigger picture of it is really what I love to do is I like to do spaces that are maybe 2,000 square foot or less. Like I love to be able, like that condo in Florida, I loved because I could walk in there. First of all, someone wasn't living in it. So it was really nice to be able to go in, see the whole vision, work with my girlfriend, have it all come together. And for her, she just said, I could never have done this. I would have been so overwhelmed. I can't see it. I can't pull the trigger. I can't see it all come together. And sometimes that's the hardest part for people is, sometimes people love everything. They're like a little mid-century, and I like a little farmhouse, and then I like a little this, and I'm like, you gotta pick one, and then we gotta build around it, kind of thing. So I think sometimes you have to help people kind of stay in their lane and see the whole thing come together. So I love that. So I love, for me, really, what I'd love to be able to do is work with people like on second homes or cottages or really short-term rentals as well. Like if somebody's like, I would love to invest in a short-term rental. I have the finances to do it, but I cannot, I can't walk into it and see what it's going to take for me to make my money back. Like, or I know it needs a little love, but I don't know where to start. That would be one. I would love to do that because I would love to walk into a space and just say, hey, because we've done it and we've ran the numbers. That's the other thing too, is, I can help somebody who says, I want to do a short-term rental. What could I make off of this? There's a whole way to run numbers on that whole piece of it based on what you invested and what you got to put into it. And I'm very honest and upfront. I can walk into a space and say, you got to put $30,000 into this alone with, nicer comforters and, maybe whatever it might be, you know what I mean? Kind of things. But that would be fun. I mean, that would be really like a really big passion of mine to help with this, in this design piece as I'm taking off is anybody who wanted to get involved, had a short-term rental or wanted to make an investment, but was like, how do I take it up a notch to really maximize my investment and get my return on my investment? Or again, like I said, people who have, second location of a condo or, somewhere or like a cottage or something like that. So
Yeah,
not that it
so
wouldn't help
you
people
can,
with homes, but I do love, taking over a big home, doing one big home from start to finish would be probably too much I'll be honest, probably just too much for me right now as I'm starting out.
yeah. Well, Steve keeps putting your email address up. So if anyone's interested in that, having a chat with you, email Mia. You can see she talks fast, she works fast, and she's decisive. The other thing is that, and something that maybe you alluded to, but I definitely want people to understand, is that you are very, very economical. You make really smart decisions, and you will invest in some areas a little higher quality, maybe a higher price point, and then you will fill in with beautiful things from IKEA. Maybe you'll adapt them. Doug will add trim or whatever Doug does, work his magic. And so you do this highbrow, lowbrow that will come out with a beautiful aesthetic at a reasonable price.
Yes,
and
I
that's
agree.
your
100%.
other superpower.
Thank you. Yes.
And just, I love what you said about beauty. I am always fact checking my beauty with Mia. Like, she will get text messages from me. Is this makeup brush quality? Should I buy this? And I'm always like, I'm cleaning my makeup brushes because Mia doesn't clean my makeup brushes. So just like beauty is in your DNA and it always will be, health and wellness is always in mine. And so those are parts of us that we just can't push aside because they're who we are. And we love real estate too, and real estate investing and design. And there's no reason why you have to be one thing. So
no, not at all.
That. And you have superpowers in both of those. So where are you going next? What is your vision for your Airbnb real estate portfolio? You kind of talked about maybe developing. Is there anything else coming back to Grand Rapids?
Yeah.
Anything else?
So I think that, I really want to keep them in Michigan, definitely. I do talk sometimes about, like, again, up north. Some people might say, oh, it's so saturated in northern Michigan. Well, people could say it's saturated down by us too. Again, I think you create that experience, you find that uniqueness. So I do think that one thing about like northern Michigan is, you've got ski, you've got summer, you've got fall. So there's that overall well-roundedness of being running, maybe 12 months out of the year. So, but again, right now, I'd be happy with 4 to 5 of them. In that cash rolled and enjoyed us for us to retire on. It'd be a beautiful thing. At that point, I am for sure somewhere warm January.
I was going to say, you need one somewhere, maybe in another country, maybe in Florida. The other thing to consider when you talk about having these investments everywhere is you're going to also have to file tax returns. That's a whole nother, episode. And we did do a great episode with Amanda Hahn, who's a CPA for real estate investors. So, but that's something to keep in mind too. Yeah, it sounds sexy. Yes, you can like maybe pick up a deal in another state, but there's a lot of other things too. So, but Mia, you definitely need at least one somewhere warm. You've been working too hard.
Like I've done it. Honestly, Margot, I would need one to go to and chill. Like I don't need to own it. Like, you know what I mean? I say that, but if it's, if somebody's done something amazing with it and I can, relax there for 3 months, really, to be honest with you, I say, if the numbers roll right and we can close these places up January, February, March, we come back in April, we get them up and ready to go for our busy season. That would even be a more beautiful thing. You know what I mean?
It doesn't have to be yours.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
Perfect. So let me ask you this. Last question, and then we'll move on to any questions that our viewers may have. What advice do you have for women who want to take the leap but are scared to start?
Everything's a risk. We know that. I mean, we've all taken some small, big risk. Believe me, I know that for sure. I think so. I think it's just a matter of where are you at in your life? What do you want for your future? And then ask for help and talk to people. You know what I mean? Like I said, find somebody who's doing what you think you might want to do, or you might want to dabble in, or you want to learn more about. We took a course, on short-term rentals, and kind of found this community that was very helpful for us. And now I feel like, I know enough of it that, I could assist somebody else, if they said I want to do that, or give them enough advice. So you find that person, whether it's long-term rental, short-term rental, whatever investment it is you're looking for in real estate, it might be. But, I think the other part of it is, like I said, what you want for your future. If anybody said to me, if there's anything you do differently, I would be like, I would have found out a way to do this 15 years ago, 20 years ago. We did it starting at the age of 50, starting this, renovation for a short-term rental and this whole portfolio thing we're building. But, and then always, run the numbers. You might get really excited. You might think this is going to be a great thing, but run the numbers, or have somebody help you run the numbers, and make sure that you've got, a good team surrounding you that's going to make sure that the investment that you're making is a strong investment. Obviously, Margot can help you run a lot of numbers. Margot knows a lot of people that can help you run the numbers. We run numbers on everything. We do our due diligence before we buy a place on, to renovate as a short-term rental, to make sure that we can, cash flow on it to the ability that we want to. And then I think, also I wrote down, kind of ask yourself why. Why do you want this? Why do you want to do this? And how involved do you want to be? That's the other thing too. So I think sometimes, I think short-term rental involvement could be different than a long-term rental involvement. I think that, getting involved with an investor or partners is different than going as a solo, entrepreneurial investor type of thing. So I think that, and there's ways that it can be done. If you think you're not sure if it, can I do this? Can I swing this? There's so many great ways to do investing. Again, I know Margot could, help you in that aspect, or lead you in the right ways, but there are so many ways that you can figure out how to make that investment on your first, real estate investment. Again, short-term, long-term, whatever it might be. You just have to kind of do your due diligence and ask for help and run your numbers and things like that. But, we love it. We love what we've done. We love what it's produced for us. And, it wasn't a perfect run, but I mean, we've had our ups and downs through the process, but, it's been fantastic. So
that is all such good advice. That is why our revenue logo is black and white, because numbers are black and white, and people tend to get emotional about real estate, and you can be emotional, I guess, if it's your home, but you always want to make a smart investment. I mean, for most people, their home is the biggest investment they will make.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that the numbers make sense. And so that's why we're black and white. And that's why our Club RVNU, I don't even know if you can see it. Can you see that Club RVNU?
Yep. Uh-huh.
It's actually black on black, because you want to be in the black, not in the red, right? That's why we do the black on black. So where did you take your course? You said you took a short-term rental course. What course was that?
We made an investment into a course called through the gentleman who started. Its name is Sean Moore, and the name of the business or company is called Bodyssey. I think it's Bodyssey Lifestyle Assets, but I could be wrong on the lifestyle assets part. But I think it's called Bodyssey. Just a really great guy, really great community. He's been in the industry for years upon years. He just seems, he's just kind of even keel, just really real. He does a really great podcast. Like, it was an investment, I will say, into this whole group. Definitely. And we got a lot out of it, but it's definitely an investment. But he does a wonderful podcast. I think is wonderful to listen to, and gives a lot of really great advice, and gives a lot of, has a lot of great people on it that talk about, lifestyle assets and short-term investments and different things like that. He's got a whole team of real estate people and different things like that, tax people, things like that, because it's a lot. I mean, the tax aspect alone is such a benefit as far as write-offs and things like that. It is, and the depreciation, it's amazing. I mean, really amazing.
If you're organized and you actually take all the deductions that can be coming to you, but you have to be organized, which you are, and you have to be able to prove it all. So you're bringing up some great points. And Amanda Hahn, I think she was Club RVNU in August. She went through August or July, a couple of months ago. Amanda Hahn. She is a real estate investor CPA, and she has a team. I mean, she's got a big team of CPA that help people all over the United States. And she's and you're great to follow on Instagram too, because you're sharing all your stories about your design business. So what is your Instagram handle if people just want inspo and to stay in touch with you?
Mia S. Walker.
On Instagram.
Yep.
Mia, MIA, obviously. And so we are at, we have about 10 minutes left for Q&A. We have Heather is here, Jessica is here, Tracy, Stephanie. If you guys have any questions, you can pop them in the chat and we will see those. I think it has just been so fun, Mia, watching all of this evolve. I loved when you sent me the MLS of your current home. And I love the names, by the way, the Fenny Farmhouse and Blue Star Cottage. So cute. I looked at that MLS picture and was like, that is so cute. And I know Mia and Doug are going to turn this into a little jewel box.
It will be cute.
And so how long have you been there? Has it been just over a year?
Yes. So we, last July, we bought it in last June, and then moved into it, and then listed the farmhouse like a week out, maybe a couple weeks after we moved out of it, at the end of July on Airbnb and VRBO, and it was gangbusters, and we've been going strong ever since then. We've been really pleasantly surprised. We thought, we do the bulk of our business in summer, but we have someone that just came in today with their family for 10 days through Thanksgiving. And then we have someone that's in between a group of people coming in between the end, right after Christmas up through New Year. So it's been great. I mean, we've been very booked all into the fall, which has been really, really nice. So.
That is so great. And you've only just begun. So the farmhouse took you from 2020 to 2024, probably?
I would say really probably more till 2023 and a half.
Okay. So let's just say 3 to 4 years. Now this house is going to take you like 1 to 2, right?
Oh, this house, I mean, really, if we were really focused on, I mean, like we've kind of, we haven't had put as much pressure on us just because we don't know where we're going next here. And so I would say, honestly, we could be wrapped up with this probably by now if we wanted to. It's just, Doug changed his job and just a couple other little things. So we just weren't like, this pressure wasn't on us. Like we got somewhere to go. So
but you're already consolidating.
We rocked the inside out in like 6 months. And again, the outside, could have been done, this summer probably if we were really focused on it. But now he's going to do it in the winter because why not?
I was wondering how he's going to do the outside in the winter, but who knows? He'll figure it out. He
does. He worked on the farm. He's got a big pair of Carhartt overalls and a Carhartt jacket, and he just seems to do it. So,
well, oh goodness, I knew this would go by so fast. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Mia.
You bet.
Inspiration, and I can't wait to hear the stories about how you are inspiring all these people that are watching. I want to invite everyone again, if you are a woman and if you are interested in wealth building, please go to clubrevenu.com, register to join us tonight from 7 to 7:30. It is private. It's a chance for us all just to take our armor off and share the good, the bad, the ugly, where we are with our wealth building. You don't have to obviously disclose any information that you don't want to, but it is a very, just like you said about your mastermind for your Airbnbs and your short-term rentals, the sum is greater than the sum of the parts. and show up to the room. I'm inviting you, if you are a woman, to join us tonight. It is free. It is just a space, because I believe that more money in the hands of women will change the world. So with that, I'm going to say thank you so much again, Mia, for your time and your insights. And hopefully I see everyone in the mastermind.
Thank you.
Good night. And thank Doug for us too, for sharing you with us. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.